go. What are we? What Sefer are we up to?
Vav.
Okay, well, the truth of the matter is that last week on my way home, I said, I skipped some things. I don't know why. We have to go back a little bit because we skipped part of Dalit, and I started redoing a little bit of Dalit, and we're going to do it over a little bit today again. Whoever gets an aliyah has to make a brocha. Kuf Lametes. Kuf Lametes is Dalit. So we forgot some of the Mishnah Buras. We went to Hay, and because there was something that I wanted to touch on there, then I forget. I went back. It didn't come back. Okay, you make a bracha before and afterwards. That's what we discussed last week about this business, about seeing what you have to make a bracha on, and how much does that have to do with what's in the text of the Sefer Torah or not. That was what we discussed last week. Afterwards, you close the Sefer and you make a bracha. Why do you close the Sefer?
To make it look like you're not reading from it anymore.
Correct. It's interesting, though, I'm just pointing out that the Mechaber didn't say anything about the Bracha Rishayna. The Ramah does.
He said you have to turn to your right.
He didn't say anything.
Right, yeah.
The Mechaber didn't say anything. So I don't know why this is that he skipped the issue of the before and only the last. Let's see. You should look to the side. It shouldn't look like you are from the Torah. The near lead, you have a small, which is the facing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Notice HaKadosh Baruch Hu is on your right, so to speak. It's the other way. The right is the left, and the left is the right when you talk about the person that's opposite you. So that's what it says over here. Okay. It says Yud Zayin. This we didn't do, Yud Zayin. Now, I'm just going to do something out of order, since we're doing out of order anyways. I would like to go to the end of the Siman. Where is it? No, the last Mishnah, the second to last week, Yud Aleph. I'm going to read Yud Aleph because there's a Mishnah Bura I want to say. HaKoreh b'Torah tzorich lechos b'Sefer Torah b'shas habracha. Now this is here we are, a Corona halacha. Okay? This halacha probably never everybody thought about until this year. Right? How important is that to hold on to it?
It looks like a halacha.
Halacha minhag, okay. Is it li'ikuva?
Probably not.
Why should it be li'ikuva?
If you with gloves, it's okay. It's the same thing. It's considered.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I would just say that there's an issue, a fascinating issue, which some of the Achronim speak about over here, which I'll just touch on the issue, which the IT really needs a birur. Everybody knows, it's a Gemara Megillah, that when if you touch a Sefer Torah without any protective gear, just you touch it with your hands, so that is nikvar arum. And the Gemara says arum something. The Gemara says arum from that mitzvah, which whatever that means, that Gemara Megillah says. Everybody knows that Gemara. Nobody knows what the shot in that Gemara is, but everybody knows that you're not allowed to touch the what?
Unprotected cloth on the inside.
Yeah. What's the difference between the Eitz Chaim and the cloth? What is it? It's part of the Sefer Torah. So there is actually a machlokes hapoiskin if you're allowed to touch the Eitz Chaim without something, a talus in between or not. There are people who have a minig. That's you see some people when they get an aliyah, they take their talus and they hold the Eitz Chaim with their talus, and that's for this reason. I'm just pointing it out right now in the days of Corona. We should be, but obviously these are. It's not liku with this halacha. But let's see. It says so that says the Ramah, the Samchum Minig Gizeh, as it says, Amar Sheneva Yeshua, the Yomer Sefer Torah Hazeh Mipicha, Rak Hazak Ve'amatz. It says over there, it should never be the Yomush, right? Now, where is it supposed to be the Yomush from? And what do you hold it with? Your hand. Okay, you have your mask on. So you can't do it. Can't do it in your mouth. Anyways, yeah. But anyways, Ryan Shach is about Mudei Sefer Torah. You're supposed to hold the Mudei Sefer Torah. You're not supposed to hold the Sefer Torah itself. Ryan Babach Latash Eskimu de Be'ez Hakriya. Tzach Gam Ken Lechos BaSefer Torah. You're supposed to hold on to it the whole time. Yesh Noagim Lechos Oz Ba'Yirias Atzmon Ayidei Mapa. And there are those that b'shas the aliyah itself, not the brochos, that they actually hold on to the cloth with a mappa. V'ayim b'mogen Avram, achar akriya minig lenashek hasefer Torah. After the kriya, the minig is to be menashek hasefer Torah. Ukishin izdam and loyroik, and this is a person who has to spit, so you shouldn't kiss and then spit because then it looks like you're spitting out that which you're kissing. Obviously, that's a no-no. Ach v'natzad chulu. Okay, so when is it that you're actually supposed to kiss the Sefer Torah afterwards? It seems some say that you're supposed to do it after the bracha. The minute it seems to me that people do it before they make the bracha. But the Shar Ephraim says you're supposed to do it after the bracha. What's all this kissing about? It's a chivuv mitzvah. Okay, so here there are those that say also that you kiss beforehand. It's a Sfardim are very big into that. Right? That's they put then they kiss it, and then that says Makoros in Ashkenazi Sfardim too. I don't know where the Ashkenazim fell out of practice of this, but that's the minig. So when a person gets an aliyah, he's supposed to hold the Atzechayim, and the minig obviously the Balkara holds one, and the other holds two. If you're the Balkara and you get an aliyah, you're supposed to hold both of them. And this is based on the Tzara Mon Shulchan Aruch. It's not like some fly-by-night deal. It's that's the minig what one is supposed to do. So you don't have to close it. Why? The Davka Rishona, just about the Bracha Rishona, like Chashur is that. Why? Mishum Tircha de Tzibura, Sheitztachu Lahamtin Ache Yachzav Yiftach. Again, I really believe that all this is Sfardi problems. Even though that nowadays I've seen Sfardi pretty neat tricks that they have. They have these like wheels on the thing. They have all kinds of gadgets to take care of the cumbersomeness of these minhagim. Okay? There is no tam because there's no tichah de tzipura, so then we are worried about it. Now, I have no idea why there's more tichah de tzipura before than after. The only thing I could think of is that it's harder for the Balkara to find the place. Now, aside from opening and closing, there's an issue of when you close it, then you can't find it again, right? Just anybody who gets a bracha aliyah and they look the other way, and then they have to find a place. So usually the Balkara points with his yad where we're up to because you lose the place. So maybe that's the point. But I don't really know. As far as Saka called the time issue, it's the same. I don't see any difference in the time issue. Okay. Okay. Anyways, you have to close it. Why do you have to do that? Because when you close the Sefer Torah, you don't really Sefer Torah ever open. By turning your head, there is no tircha de tzibura. כמו שתסבנו, כאין זה בסרקה י"ז.
I understand what this reason when you pass to the Bracha Rishona, it should have not the Bracha Rishona also. People need to do the Brachas in the Sefer Torah. Unless people
The opposite.
So you make
The opposite. we're really
It's Hashash.
hold on a second. The chashash should really apply both Broch Rishon and Broch Achronim. But we make a split, and we say we're only choshev about Broch Achronim and not Broch Rishon. Why is that? So we have something pushing us to make that split. And that is Tircha de Tzibura. That's true. The tircha is equal. However, as he said, the second reason, the tircha, I gave an answer for the tircha, which I believe could be that you'll have to find the place. I don't have a better answer than that. But the second reason, which he says, which is for sure true, and then Gava, anyways, you have to close the Sefer Torah. So it's not more tircha; it's just a question when you do it. So therefore, we'll be worried about this idea. We'll do it before the bracha, which is the proper time. And there is no tircha tzibura in the bracha achronim. There's only tircha tzibura in the bracha rishayim because, anyways, it has to be closed. Okay.
Okay, Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, can you lower the video so that we can see more of the Rob?
I'm sorry. This thing it moved. I'm sorry. You know what? We're gonna do this. I had last week. I just lost these guys out together.
Right.
I lost you.
We're back. The note is back.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was in the ceiling. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's better.
Better. Thank you.
I feel like a movie star. Okay.
Smiler.
The apple part of the Sirlei, the Kiva de Bezel, Leka Tircha de Tzibur, Brochos, Gab the Broch Rishon, Lachshash, Layom, Broch Sula, Kemoshe Kasav, over here. Okay. And we look to the small. Why do we look to the small? The whole Yamin Shakadosh Baruch Hu. Oimen Negdei. Kadosh Baruch Hu is standing in front of you. So your small is his Yamin. Mihu. Yesh Achon Shekhoz, V'dachli Afona Enu Rochon. V'mara Atzak Yen Mavocha Masha Yikra, Rak Al Midi Achrini. It seems like you're looking the other way, and it seems like you're not making a bracha on this. Your bracha is on someplace off in Neverland. The Masalik Pona Bimenu, the Yosef Tev, the Hatzim Einov, Shalom Listaka B'Sefer Torah B'Shas HaBracha. Better just close your eyes and not look inside. Now, to me, this way of the Achronim doesn't make so much sense. Why? Because those guys, those Yomu guys, the guys who were always worried about that. How do they know if your eyes are open and closed? And that's a very small, a very, very, very fine distinction. But at any rate, that's a Tzemach. Say, I'm the B'Alach. Yesh Nagim, Lish Chos, V'Ishtachavos, V'Eis Amir, Sabracha, Mishum Kavrat Torah. With that, there's some that pick up the Torah when they say the word Torah, they pick up the Torah. Because of that, you're able to have upon him, Lo Yishchet Gam B'Sei Bracha, Does Yenira Ki'ilu, Moisif Al Shchir, Shetik Mechachom V'Aser. You shouldn't make this is a fascinating halacha, because we know in Shmona Esrei, you're not allowed to add on more kriyas than what Chazal said. Now, all of them, all the kriyas, there are 4 of them, which is not really true. There's only 2 of them. There's one in the first bracha and one in Moedim. Both of them, you do it at the beginning of the bracha and the end of the bracha. It's one. There are 2 brachas that get kriyas. You just do it twice per bracha. Right? I don't know if you ever thought about it like that, but that's actually what. Yeah. Okay. So now, that's what we know. You're not allowed to bow down another time in the middle of Shemona Esrei because you're Ma'aser HaKriyas. Does that mean that someplace else in davening you can't bow down? Now let's see what we just said, and we'll find out what you just said as well. Right? And that's the point about this thing. Because of Rabba, the Akapodim will Yisra Gam B'Seif Bracha, the Oz Yanira Ki'ilu Moisef Al Shchir Shetikla Chachamim Da'aser. If you're going to bow down on the second bracha, then the end of the bracha, then you have what's called a full kriya. Full kriya means that you have a beginning and end. So then we say that you're adding on to that which Chazal or Misakim. If you're only going to bow down by a half, that's nothing. That doesn't count. That doesn't register with us. Okay. And it's actually some of the Achronim learned this Mishnah Berurah. Okay. Anyway, so bottom line, we get an aliyah. This is very important. This halacha is really very important. You have to know how to do it. You have to kiss maybe beforehand, and you look away, or you close your eyes. Different Achronim say something different, and you say the bracha, and you hold on to the Sefer Torah for the whole time. It's not Corona right now. We're not discussing what you do in Corona. You can only do it the Gabbai says. Okay. We'll just leave it at that. But that's the proper way for it to be done.
The only thing that's missing really.
Just one second. What? Okay. All right. I'll just answer over his question. It says, what does it mean HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in front of you? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. What's the answer to that question?
Shpina.
It's more complicated.
Maybe that's a machlokes between different mafarshim, but I think that the question is a mistake. There is a there's a reality of how a person is doing something. Okay, when a person is davening Shemona Esrei, he has to stand at attention. When he's saying Kriya Shema, we discussed this over in Kriya Shema. He doesn't have that chiyuv. You could say Kriya Shema sitting down, which is a bigger mitzvah. Kriya Shema is mitzvah deraisa. Tefillah is only a derabanan. And there's all kinds of halachas of what you have to wear by tefillah and how you have to prepare yourself for tefillah. And what about Kriya Shema? So the answer is that davening, you're in a state of oimid lefnei hamelech. That's what you're doing, and therefore it demands a certain posture. It demands a certain kind of behavior, and that's what's speaking about. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in front of you when you're doing something. Certain activities a person is doing, he's doing them in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and certain things you're doing them, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. You're not doing them in front of him. You understand what they're saying? Right. So figuratively, so you have to respond. The way you're standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu davening. What do you mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is behind you. But it's a posture. So it's true, could be a HaKadosh Baruch Hu is more concentrated. All those answers could be true too, but that's irrelevant. I think there's a much more basic answer that we're talking about. Oimid lefnei hamelech, as famous, the first of Chaim Brisker and Sefer. It says that the person has to know that he doesn't know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you're not yet to tefillah. You missed the point. You missed the point. All right. Anyway,
So the only thing I wanted to bring out is he said that when you get an aliyah, so you're supposed to kiss the Torah, correct?
that's the minute. It's supposed to. It's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Okay, so I as a Balkore has been for such a long time. So I would show the person who got an aliyah the place, and he had a tendency of taking his talus and then rubbing that spot in the Torah itself, which is not the right thing to do, because you're afraid of erasing the letters on there. Enough people do it to erase the letters. It would be important to kiss the side of the Torah where the parchment is.
I'll just share with you a horror story that happened to me, and then I'll address what you said. I got an aliyah once, and it was a relatively new Sefer Torah, and I'm looking at the Sefer Torah as I'm getting an aliyah, and there was a letter that was very glossy, and I didn't really understand what it is. And I'm aware of the sensitivity of how carefully you have to do the Sefer Torah. So before I made my bracha achrona, I took a tissue and dabbed it on there to see what it was. And to my horror, because this happened on Shabbos, I looked at the tissue, and there was ink on the tissue. What happened was, obviously, that somebody, a little bit of spit, they weren't wearing one of these masks, and a little bit of spit landed on the Sefer Torah, and it made it into an ink ball. And that's what I saw, and this was what was bothering me, and I mopped up the ink ball on Shabbos. So I was pretty horrified. You understand? Like nobody really knew what was going on. And I was like shocked. You know that tissue has to go to Gniza, right? The part of the Sefer Torah possibly. And I checked carefully, and I saw that the letter was still intact. Nothing happened. I wasn't. At least I didn't destroy the letter. Whether there's any level of Issa Mechika or not, you have to learn Hilchos Shabbos very well to know if there is or isn't. I'm not really sure. I know the answer to that question. But I'm just pointing out, yes, that happens. And you're never supposed to swipe your talis on a Sefer Torah. If you touch it is one thing. You're not supposed to swipe it. And those people, there is a source to say that you should touch where you're lading from. That the Achronim actually say, like you're saying, better not get involved. You don't know what you're doing. Leave professional things to professionals. That's
I'd have people sometimes say, "Oh, tell me where the end is." That means where's the beginning of the next aliyah. Believe it. I mean, he would say, show me the beginning and then show me the end.
Right. There's a reason for that, because you want your bracha to be on that part by itself. That's where you're concentrating your bracha on. Now, in a few weeks from now, I'll contradict what I just said right now, but we already did last week. But that's fine. But there is such an idea. There is such an idea that a person should know what he's saying it on. All right. Anyways.
What did the Rav end up saying about Datzei Chaim?
Gosh, I'm saying that those who have the minig that they use their talis or something like that to go in between. But the minig is that we don't give it that kind of a kedusha like the parchment itself. All right. You have to speak louder. One do what? I can't answer that question because it depends on the rules of that shul that you're in. That's that's a question of. There's some in the Corona minion that I daven in Yerushalayim during, we'll call it as of right now, the lockdown. We won't call it the first lockdown, right? So anybody who got an aliyah had to put on gloves. That's all, and that took care of the problem. I don't know. I'm just making a statement. I don't really know why everybody before they got their aliyah would wash their hands with aquagel and wash their hands afterwards with aquagel. I think that would probably be good enough, but I don't think people do wash their hands well enough. That's there's theoretical, and then there's practical. Person's on the way to get an aliyah, they don't necessarily do a good job. They just do my machonim. we'll just leave it at that. Okay.
This week's parsha is the most common one to think that there's a mistake.
Excuse me. What is this week's parsha?
Pinchas.
Last week's.
No, this week's.
Yeah, this week's, yes, Pinchas. Yeah, I know you guys are caught up. Yeah, you caught up.
Yeah, we caught up exactly. So this coming week's is the most common to think that there's a mistake in the sefer.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. And do you know that there's a discussion, a very big machlokes, just it's not a chumash here. There is a three-way machlokes in the Rishonim. How do you spell the name Pinchas? Do you spell it with a yud or without a yud? And according to some, the vav ketia is the yud of Pinchas.
The extra dio.
No, the vav is broken, right?
Right.
So the top part is like a yud.
Right.
That is part of the name that he got to Bisi Shalom, according to some. This is like a wild piece of chumash to think about. Anyways, okay, let's go. Let's carry on. I lost my place. Okay, I think we did Sifhei. I think we did it in totality. Now we're going to do Sifhei. We discussed this quite a bit, this idea of what's the purpose of saying Baruch Hu. And here we have, this is something which my father, Arini Kapos Mishkova, he used to work so hard to get the people, especially bar mitzvah boys, to say the Brochos out loud. And as hard as you work, you're not always successful as getting people to do this. But the Brochos and or we'll see in the Halacha in a minute, but at least the Baruch Hu, Vada has to be said out loud. And the Baruch Hu is the part which is a Davar Kedusha. The Bracha is not a Davar Kedusha, it's a Bracha. Now the Bracha, we'll see in the Halacha, has maybe a different reason why it has to be said out loud. But the Baruch Hu, it's a non-happening, a non-event if it's done without Asara. So it's very important that you have Asara people, Asara people hear the Baruch Hu. Over Baruch Hu, Brochos, the Kolam, Va'ormin Balachash, Toya. A guy who says them quietly is a Toya. If you did it quietly, you got to do it over. Says the Ramah, so what did the Ramah say this on? Baruch Hu. He didn't say it on the Brochos. Okay? If they didn't hear him, even though they heard the Chazan answering, they shouldn't answer together with him. Fascinating. Why? Because you have to have the tzibur. And we're going to we'll discuss a little bit more outside. All right. Baruch Hu, atam to what you see, Ba'afa Brochos, today shiyachu atzibur la'anois amen. You should say it out loud in order to allow the tzibur to say amen. Now, what happens if the tzibur didn't hear the Brochos, the regular Brochos? Can they answer amen?
Sure,
Sure. How do you know?
because they used to wave flags in Alexandria.
Okay, excellent. Very good. You remember that, huh?
When I was a little boy, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, 100%. So this is a clear distinction between the two. We have the Baruch Hu, which is a Davar Kedusha, and we have the Brochos, which is a Bracha. There's two different things going on, and we just assume that it's one. Yeah, so we just assume, means to say that most people don't give much thought to it. Taya, who are you saying Baruch Hu to? We discussed this many times. Baruch Hu, you're telling Olam, it's like you say, Herzum will mention, right? The person says Herzum will mention quietly, so you might as well just start Yishem Hashem Baruch Hu, right? You didn't do anything. Anyways, Balachash Nikra called the last Asara Ditzaisi. What's called Balachash? If you didn't have 10 people who heard it, because in order, what did we say? This is Davar Kedusha. So Davar Kedusha, you need to have the minimum. It's not a question of how loud you said it. It's a question of how many people heard it. Kedin Davar Kedusha Deina Pachas Me'asar. V'ayim Magen Avram Du Adin Kaddish. Now, I would like to say something that I'm not sure that I know what I'm saying is true. Okay? I happen to be Turk Shana, and I daven. I try to daven for the Amud 3 times a day. And where I daven, most of my tefillos, though none of them are in the same place, the minig is really that only one person says Kaddish, not like in Ara Shalom, which you could have more people saying than answering. But that's what? As far as Yeshua, yeah, it's an amazing thing. The Svardim is an amazing thing. Everybody's saying Kaddish, and I'm not going to get involved in it. I just say something which is fascinating, which people don't know. According to the Mechaber and Shulchan Aruch, Svardim do not daven for the Amud for Shana Rishona. The exact opposite of Ashkenazim. And the Etzem, it seems to me, that they should not. Nowadays, in Kilkunu, and a lot of them down to the Amud too, because they see the Ashkenazim do it and they don't know that they're not supposed to. But stop, that if you have a question of who should get the Amud, in my opinion, if there's a, so to speak, a fight between two people, why an Ashkenazi guy should get it over a Sephardi, because a Sephardi guy is not really supposed to be doing it all together. Even Ashkenazi guy is not so pashut that he's supposed to be doing it. It's not far from simple. What? Because he's like putter from those kind of mitzvahs. It's a ask your own. We spent a lot of time on that. That's halacha. But at any rate, the Brochos is so now. What happens is the person this morning, a guy came over to me and he said he would like to, if I'm makbid, if he says Kaddish together with me. So I told him I'm not makbid. He's more than happy he could do it. And he stood next to me and he said the Kaddish out of like the Eretz. He said it very low. And I was thinking to myself, did he do anything? If 10 people didn't hear him, what did we just say? So he didn't, it's not even a piggyback. A piggyback he got there. He didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but they heard you. That would be enough.
Oh, the people are okay. I want to know that neshama which he was trying to bump it up. Did it get a bump up or not?
I would say yes, because he was kind to you, because he asked you, can I say it with you? Okay, it doesn't mean I have to say it out loud with you.
But in order for it to say Kaddish, you have to have, what did we just learn? That in order for it to be a Davar Shebekdusha, you have to have 10 people here.
They didn't want her to make Kaddish, and then they sort of didn't work.
Once people answer, it can't be people both Kaddishes.
I would like to scream right now, okay? And I hope the people all the way in Florida hear me screaming. What did we just say?
Yeah, it's important that you hear the person.
How does it go? They didn't hear the other Kaddish. No, but in order for his Kaddish to happen, they have to have 10 people hearing it. You have to say it. That should be Kedusha Ba'asara. Can't whisper it. Yeah, I understand. What?
The threshold has been reached. One person is in Kaddish, the second just threshold is just.
But are you answering to his fellow? I don't know. That's it. It seems to me. I don't know. I didn't research it more, but it seems to me that you should be the person be saying it out loud. And this is what brings to the problem, which there is no solution to, except here in Abba Shalom we have a semi-solution that we have everybody stand around the bima. At least that's the official policy in the shul, and that's good. I need to say that's good means that hopefully it works, so to speak. But many times,
if people hear 5 people together, you theoretically don't hear a single one.
That doesn't bother me so much. That doesn't bother me so much. My guess is that not everybody hears everybody, and there's a little bit of a but that's trade colors could be mishtoi, not mishtoi, but definitely was said. I mean, it was said by Sarah and was heard. There, it's a cognizant thing. When you say trade colors mishtoi, that means that you can't concentrate on it. It doesn't mean that it wasn't said. I don't think that's such a problem. Yeah, Shaffer, what do you want to say?
I was going to ask about Trey Cole, but you sort of addressed it.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Perfect.
Okay.
I would bring up a very touchy subject in regard to what about a woman saying Kaddish?
What about a woman saying Kaddish?
That is somebody who has yortzeit for a parent, and she has a daughter like to come to shul and like to say Kaddish.
Okay. I'll answer that question. It's not such a touchy subject, being that it's not Nagia right now. I'll tell you, first of all, just a fascinating thing I just learned yesterday. If you have a minion in the bias of an avelo, which actually could be is happening here in Beit Shemesh. I don't know if John Lins is making a minyan in his wife's house. I doubt it. But a lot of times you have a lady who's a lady that's sitting shiva and there's no men, and they make a minyan in the house, which was supposed to be done there. And then the question is, do you say tachnun because of the lady avelo? So the halacha is, if you make a minyan in the bias of a kala, you don't say tachnun. I had from my most interesting questions, I mentioned this once in the show, I remember which I mentioned it in. I had in one of my, I have a friend of mine who is a lawyer in America, and he had a very difficult bris, and he had to have a urologist do the bris, and the only religious urologist they could find was a lady, and she was going to perform the bris, which can be done, with the evidence, so to speak, and that was that case. And this religious urologist was so moved that she's going to do a bris, she came to shul to daven that morning, and there was a tumult in shul. Yo tachnun or no tachnun? We have over here a woman mile and as a notion, and do you say tachnun or not? Okay, Arya, you never heard of that one before, did you? Anyways, so my friend called me up and he said, "What do you say?" I said, "Absolutely not," and he said, "Absolutely yes," which that's why we're such good friends, and we both brought a raya from the sources. We just read it differently. And the bottom line is, to me, it's the Poshit, so it seems from a Vosner, that you do not say Tachnun for the lady Moil and the Ezra Snasher. That's just, we'll leave it at that. Now, as far as Kaddish is being concerned, I'll just answer your question. As far as Kaddish is being concerned, the consensus of Roiv Minyan Ubinyan of the place skin is that it should not be done. Now, nowadays, this is before a feminist movement. This has nothing to do with the feminist movement. There are situations, we know even in Yerushalayim where it was done, in certain situations, but the opinion of Roiv Minyan opinion of the place is that it should not be done. And many places can say that Vadai nowadays, that it comes laced with all other issues, which is that what you're talking about, that it should not be done. But even beforehand, the place skim look very askew at women saying Kaddish, and this is
that by themselves? Is that to say by themselves or together with the men who are saying it?
Either way. There's a issue of, I just saw this issue within the last 48 hours about women being present in places or causing men to be thinking about their presence there, and therefore they should not be there. But that's there are all kinds of issues on the subject. But the general bagadol, the kamat, all most of the place skim are naysayers on the issue. Yeah, so that's that. Obviously, the lady who says it quietly, in my opinion, she's not doing anything. It's nothing. There's nothing to do with the lady. It will be a man. Right? So that's one of the reasons why it's not done.
First guy says it out loud, and the second guy was saying it. If the other guy wouldn't say it, 10 people might hear.
Maybe that's what it is, but I don't know. Okay, I gotta go. I have to get out of my